who are some of your biggest supporters throughout this filming process that you've had?
Yeah, we had quite a few. One of our biggest supporters was the Sherwoods, the family who owned the massive ranch house property. And I think that we wouldn't have been able to really make the film without them, because they literally just lent us their property for 4 days to film on for free. And that was
Wow.
one of the biggest assets to the film, if not the biggest, because it just stretched our production value and we got exactly what we were looking for. So they supported us by lending us their space and allowing us to use it freely as long as we respected the location. Another big group of supporters was Mitchell Burke, the lead's parents. They supported us quite a lot by they donated some money, but they also brought their boat from Brisbane down that we used in the film again, which really added to our production value and the believability of this, something that is visually showing that Lockie's leaving, without just having it be this story element that's non-physical. So that really added to the story as well. But we had numerous, dozens of supporters through our campaigns, and they all, again, we raised I think it was something almost like 4K or something like that between the two. So
Wow.
really wouldn't have been able to make the film without them.
Okay. Dude, if you could go back, let's say like 5 years, 10 years, and give yourself a piece of advice, what would you tell yourself?
I feel like they'd be very different pieces of advice from 5 years ago to 10 years ago. 10 years ago,
We'll do both. Yeah.
Probably tell myself to stay focused, because that's probably the opposite of what I was doing at that time. And it really wasn't until university, when I was 19, when I really started taking filmmaking seriously. And of course, I would have liked to start that. I dabbled in it a bit throughout high school.
Yeah.
But I think I would have just told myself to really try things out and get a feel for the process before university ever started. And then 5 years ago, I would be hitchhiking in Australia probably. So I would just probably do exactly what I did while I was over there, just staying curious and really exploring. I think it's important that people aren't afraid to get lost every now and then, and to just drop down in a place with it's okay not to have money or a plan, and to just make things up as you go, because that's really where the storytelling is. And I found myself in all these strange situations that I wouldn't have met people in.
Johnathan, I think it's really important to be lost sometimes, right? I think that's what your film really portrays too. You'll end up where you're supposed to end up, but I think being lost and being 16, being 21, and making mistakes, I think it's very important for a learning experience. And also, I think you get to meet a lot more people that way too. It's important too. And even like me and Saahith, I was pretty lost on what I was going to do with my life, right? I was in high school, whatever, right? I was like, I don't know what to do. And I think a lot of people freak out, right? Or more, their parents freak out, right? They're like, what is my son? What is my daughter doing? They have no, path right now, right? And I think it's important to just let go. I think it really is. And tell yourself that, it's going to be fine at the end of the day. I think that's really important.
I think going back as well, if it's interesting, in the American culture, we're not, it's not encouraged to take a gap year in between high school and university. And in a lot of other countries, when I was meeting travelers, let's say from Germany, or most of Europe actually, that's when people were doing this backpacking, and they would take a year in Australia right before university, and that's definitely something I wish we incorporated in our own culture, because I think what happens is you show up to an art school and then you have no stories to tell because
Exactly.
you've just been in a school system for, you know, from 5 to 18. So I think it's, I think it's interesting to just like let people live and be adults
themselves.
or kids or whatever.
Like me too.
And then have time separate from a system.
Right. And a big reason me and Saahith are doing this as well as this show is to meet different people, you know, like, and, you know, going straight into undergrad, going straight into medical school. I haven't had a lot of time off. I think it's going to really help me, it'll help Saahith and help our viewers to really see other perspectives of life. You know what I'm saying? I think it's going to be very, very important in the show.
And I think one thing Johnathan mentioned was being curious. Definitely, like, you know, being able to be curious, you know, explore things while you're, you know, going through different phases of your life really helps you grow as an individual. I know in my own personal experience, you know, I was actually in finance for about a year right after graduating, but then I decided to switch careers. And now I'm into medicine. If I didn't have the opportunity to explore and, you know, look at what other fields are out there, talk to different people, it would have been a lot tougher to, you know, make that decision. So like giving people, I think people are more informed when they have those experiences that you mentioned, you know, just let go. And, you know, like you said, like you're in a school system since the age of 5, and, you know, you don't have that ability to like explore different avenues. And once you like just let yourself go and put yourself in situations where you're a little bit uncomfortable, I think that really helps you make better decisions. So
absolutely. And I think you definitely hit the nail on the head with getting out of your comfort zone. I think that's so important to and it applies to the filmmaking process as well. Like for me, making this thing was all about getting out of my comfort zone. Like I had never taken on a project of this size or like a project of this ambition, but it was important to me to not look at this project like, oh my God, we have to make you know, such a great end result. The important thing to me was just that we had to make something ambitious and that we had to make something honest. And that's sort of what guided me throughout the process, is getting out of my comfort zone and then using that as a way to really learn, because that's where the growth kind of happens right there. You don't really grow in your comfort zone.
Not at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, making this podcast, Johnathan, is not something that we usually do. So this is way out of our comfort zone too, but it'll be a fun time. It'll be a fun time.